Basically lived on the streets and on buddies' couches for the next 6 months, and then by the age of 18 I was full blast in drugs. My story starts when my real dad walked out on me when I was 6 days old, and my mom got remarried to who I thought was my father, my real father, and at the age of 4, I was terribly abused, physically abused, for the next 7 years. And then one day I found my actual birth certificate in the attic, and lo and behold, the man who had been beating me all these years was not my real father. So we left Arkansas and moved to Oklahoma in 1985. But before we moved, right before we moved, I was with my brother's best friend. We were driving this big dump truck to a job site going to Hope, Arkansas. And I fell asleep at the wheel, and I got thrown out of the truck for over 160 feet. He was still in the truck. The only reason I survived that wreck is because my window was down, because I kept trying to keep myself awake. He passed away right there at the truck. I saw him take his last breath. And so at 15 years old, to see the first person die, it was pretty impactful on my life. I started messing around with drugs when I was early 16s. When I moved to Oklahoma, I just smoked a lot of dope. That's really all I did. But that's when I met the love of my life and the one who changed my life, Christy. I met her in McDonald's parking lot, and I'll never forget that night. And from that time on, I've never loved a woman as much as I loved her. But as time goes by, I messed up and I lost her, and we went our separate ways. And I got kicked out of my home at the age of 17 and basically lived on the streets and on buddies' couches for the next 6 months. And then by the age of 18, I was full blast in drugs and cocaine. Cocaine is my drug of choice, and that's what the enemy has put on me. And I didn't know Jesus then, but Jesus knew me, and he knew the purpose he had for my life. From the age of 18 to 24, I was shot at, I was stabbed, I saw people overdose. I've overdosed 3 times myself, which basically means my heart stopped. That lifestyle I lived was horrific, but I want to go back though to the age of 11. For a year I was sexually abused, which really gave me I didn't know who I was. Being beaten for all those years and then being sexually abused by who I thought was a friend of mine, an older friend of mine, just really devastated me as a young teenager. And I didn't have a father. And that's probably one of the biggest things with my life is I never had a father figure in my life. I had 3 kids and was divorced, and then all of a sudden this young lady came back into my life, and her name was Christy. Me and Christy were dating again after 18 years of being apart, and she just asked me one day, do you know Jesus? And I didn't. I might have thought I knew. I mean, I knew I've read the Bible a few times, but I never went to church. You know, the devil has a big hammer, and he just beats and beats and beats on you. And so for all those years before, I just felt like the devil was beating me down and down and down. And so I needed to give everything that I had, all the shame and guilt that I had over the years that was been done to me and that I had done to people. I needed to give that up. And so in 2003, I gave my heart to Jesus and my life to Jesus. And I can't tell you the relief that I felt that night. I can remember it like it was happened 30 minutes ago. The unbelievable weight that was lifted off. I could never forgive myself, and I always tell people the hardest person you're ever going to forgive is yourself, because that's the person that's caused all the pain and the hurt, and then all the pain and hurt that's been caused on you. So my message today is, through all my wounds and my scars that I have on my body, I know that Jesus had a plan for me and my purpose in life. I've been to 6 treatment centers over my lifetime, and the last one I went to in Cushing, Oklahoma, was pretty much I would call it my suicide run, because I was so lost and so in the dark that the shame had held me down so long that I had nowhere to go. And I would cry out to him. Just to take the pain away. And I've been clean this month for 14 years. You know, as I came out of the darkness and our marriage came out of the darkness, and I earned back the trust of not only Christy, but family and friends, 4 years after we were married, we lost our oldest son, Tyler, Christy's oldest son, Tyler, who was accidentally shot. I'll never forget that day. It was around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, actually, and I remember actually Tyler coming into the bedroom wanting to borrow some money for gas, and I said, there's $1.86 in the closet, and he took it, and the last thing he said to me was, "See you, Keith." And then an hour later, Christy walked in the door and said, "What do you mean Tyler's been shot?" And at that moment in our lives, everything changed. Everything. Our marriage became stronger, our relationship became stronger, our friendship became stronger, because then I became the anchor of the family. And that was good for me. So we miss him, we love him, but we know he's with Jesus. Through his amazing grace and his mercy, he has kept me going. And so now today I can share my story and my testimony of how God has done so many powerful things in my life and has put so many people in my life. And so I leave you guys today with pretty much never give up. You never stop believing. God has a purpose for every one of us. And my purpose, I'm fulfilling it right now. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. God bless.